Hey guys, recently Variety published on their website, and I'm assuming in their paper as well, uh, an article entitled "Roger Ebert, the Last Critic Who Mattered." And I was thinking about that, about his life and career, and how much of an impact Roger Ebert had on the movies and on critics in general. And I'm tending to think they might be right. He started his career at the Chicago Sun-Times, and he started out as a young writer, loved movies, had a passion for it, but he wasn't just any old writer. Roger Ebert actually won a Pulitzer Prize for his criticism, and he had a rival across town at the Chicago Tribune, and his name, of course, was Gene Siskel. And Gene and Roger, as much as they were rivals, they had something together. And so they started fairly early in their careers talking about movies. And they eventually started a show called At the Movies. I think most of us have heard of that, if not all of us. And Siskel and Ebert started the thumbs up or thumbs down, which throughout their career became something that they time and time again went back to and really infiltrated the whole idea of movies. Now you see a movie and it just simply says two thumbs up for a review in the quotes when Siskel and Ebert were doing it. They became more than just critics. They spoke at the Academy Awards and various other award shows. They've also been caricatures. Anytime you're a caricature and you make a cartoon, I think you've sort of made it. This is my favorite image of these two together. It was one that introduced their show, and to me, kind of sums up their love of movies. Ebert looking a little more critical, and Gene Siskel looking kind of amused and still drawn in. Just love that image. Of course, all good things must come to an end, and so, pardon my cold. And so, at one point, Gene Siskel got ill and sadly died. And I think Roger Ebert gave a very thoughtful and eloquent eulogy on the At the Movie show, and you can Google that. I think it's on YouTube as well. You can check that out. But when Gene Siskel left the show, Ebert went on, of course, but it was never really quite the same for me after Gene Siskel died. And of course, he had his Ebert Presents at the Movies, and that worked pretty good. One of the things I liked about Roger Ebert was his criticism. Here's an interesting quote talking about going to see Godzilla at the Cannes Film Festival. It's kind of like attending a satanic ritual in the Basilica. So he only had an amusing way to look at things, and like a lot of good critics, I guess, could be biting when he needed to be. Well, they tried other hosts with him as well. They brought on a variety of different ones. They ended up with this guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Anyway, we'll go on from there. Roger Ebert, aside from Gene Siskel, was still just a formidable critic. Here's a list of his best movies of the year from 1967 through 2012, I believe. But anyway, you can see some of the pictures he's picked, and I would agree with a lot of these. 74, by the way, was the year he won the Pulitzer Prize, and his favorite movie from that year was Scenes from a Marriage, which I would agree is an awesome film. And most of these are. Of course, he doesn't pick any bums, but you can look through the list here yourself. You can pause if you'd like to and just check out what he thought were the best movies of each year. Ebert, as he went on, of course, we all know the story of what happened to Roger. He ended up with an odd form of cancer, and you can start seeing it in his jawline. It started to look a little bit different. And then for a while, he started losing weight, and he couldn't speak for, I think it was about a year or two at all. And then they did some further surgeries on his larynx. He had cancer of the, I can't think now, it was his larynx and I want to say like saliva or something, but I can't come up with the right term. But anyway, I think we all saw the images of Roger Ebert, as he had the false jaw attached, meant to hide the many scars and things that he had. He had a prosthetic, and then he couldn't speak at all. Dramatically looking difference there. And right up until the end of his life, he still was vital in writing and doing what he loved, watching movies and being a critic. And so it was not really a surprise when Roger died, but certainly a huge impact to the movie community. There'll probably be never be another critic quite like Roger Ebert, and I'll get to that in a minute. By the way, the Chicago Sun-Times did a full-page spread on Roger when he died. One of the things about critics that I think, a critic's only as good as his or her opinion matches with your own, right? So I can be a critic, but if you don't agree with what I have to say, then what I have to say is useless. If I say a movie's great, and you look at it and say, well, this movie stinks, I'm not a good critic for you. I might be a good critic for somebody else who agrees with my opinion. Unless it's just for entertainment purposes. But we have plenty of entertainment these days. We don't need critics. By the way, here's his last published words. So on this day of reflection, I say again, thank you for going on this journey with me. I'll see you at the movies. Quite kind of poignant. He wrote that just a very, very short time before he died. So again, going back to this whole idea of critics, I'll show you another, for me, a great cartoon that also pretty sad in a way. But I think that, as many critics as there are out there today, none of them come up to the level of Gene Siskel or Roger Ebert, for that matter. There's a lot of TV critics, and we can take a look at some of those. But again, I just feel like if my opinion doesn't match up with yours, whether it be in music, art, literature, movies, anything else, it doesn't matter what I think. A critic needs to have an opinion that is sort of universal, that most people of, I don't know, similar taste, I guess, will agree with. And all these critics make a bad choice from time to time. They think a movie's a bomb, and it turns out that a lot of people like it, and vice versa. I think it's a matter of consistency over time that allows you to be a good critic. Here's Joel Siegel from, he's from ABC, Good Morning America or something. I don't know. And, I've certainly seen the guy's face before, but I couldn't tell you what the heck he has to say about anything, or whether he's a good critic or a bad critic. I know one thing, he's no Roger Ebert, and he's no Gene Siskel. But he's out there, and he has an opinion. You may agree with it. I know his opinion is put out, and if he says something good about a film, they'll be sure to splash his words at the tail end of a movie. I'm drawing a blank on this guy's name. I'm sure you'll all know he's the NBC guy, and I don't know why I can't think of his name. I want to say it's Gene something. But anyway, you guys will fill in the blanks. I'm sure someone will set me straight as to who this guy is. I just can't remember. Probably come to me in a few minutes. Leonard Maltin, of course, is a guy that he's published, and I think he's done some things on Entertainment Weekly, or the television show, not the magazine. But he's done some things, and he's probably a fairly famous critic, I guess, as well. He's been around for a while, publishes books, and I agree with some of what he's got to say. But he's no Roger Ebert. They're not having film festivals for him like they did Roger Ebert. Truffaut, is famous for his role maybe in 2001: Space Odyssey, and as a director, as he was as a movie critic. But he started out as a movie critic, and was a very good one. But took up the directorial mantle, dabbled in acting. So all these guys, are good. And then there's the queen of all critics, and to me, next to Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, Pauline Kael, biting critic. Not always agreed with, but boy, before Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, she was the queen of critics. Not somebody who's on television, but from the print media, absolutely. So, was Roger Ebert the last critic who really mattered? I think yes. I think critics are going by the wayside. Why? Well, things like Twitter. If you can go out there and tweet, and a lot of you do, your opinion about a movie, hey, saw this movie, it stinks, or saw this movie, I highly recommend it. Your friends are more likely to listen to you, or those people who follow you on Twitter, who've come to know your opinions, are more likely to follow you there, or on Facebook, I guess. Another place, Facebook changed the whole internet in a lot of ways by allowing people to connect, or sort of connect, with pictures and quotes and life events without really having to pick up the phone or even really meet them in person. And of course, YouTube. Huge impact on reviews, as we've all seen. I follow, I don't know, 400 people or something, or maybe more. And some of them, their opinions I highly regard in the area of Criterion Collection or just movies in general. And I think a lot of you do the same thing. And then there's blogs. There's blogs everywhere on the internet. Here's 10 movies to see before you die. Here's Cinebanter, a couple of guys trying to mimic Siskel and Ebert, perhaps. Here's somebody who titled her simply Movie Blog. Or who she is. AMC Movie Blog has a blog on the internet. All these folks have an opinion. Movieblogger.com. I suppose you can check out any of these places. Movie-blogger.com. I haven't checked out any of them. I just Googled it. Here's Goodfellas Movie Blog. And he rates different movies. I may do a blog at one point. I don't know. Here's The Movie Blog. Just a ton of them everywhere you turn. Here, B-films from the Atomic Age. That actually looks interesting. Remember the Colossal Man there. Here's Jen's Movie Blog. I find there's so many blogs that Total Film has the Movie Blog Awards. So, I don't know. I think this. If you're on YouTube, you're making some videos, I'm going to follow you there. I'm going to watch a YouTube video on an unboxing or an overview or a review long before I'll pick up a newspaper or search the internet for a review. I may do that afterwards, but my first inkling about a film usually comes from YouTube. And that's for a film that's in the theaters or for a film I'm thinking about buying. More so there, because I can see the actual movie being unwrapped or know what I get and everything else. So you know what? Keep doing it, and you can be our own Roger Ebert, and you give the 2 thumbs up. All right, guys, that's all I have for now. Take care.